are now listening to Hint of Lemon.
Hey, welcome to Hint of Lemon. So today we're doing something a little bit different. Just to change it up a little bit from one-on-one interviews, we're going to do a little group, or how should we call this? A triad? Is that too aggressive? Is that too Asian?
A threesome?
We're going to do a threesome. We're trying to keep it as threesome with the homies. We're trying to keep it as uncut, I guess you can say. So today we have
uncut.
It's raw.
So both of these. So Jesus Christ! All right, now it's getting out of hand already. So today we're having two guests that we already had. So we have Michael Manuel V, and we have Paolo. What's up, guys?
Paulo.
Hello. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back. I'm glad.
Thank you for having us.
Our recording didn't scare you guys off. But so today's topic, Mike, do you kind of want to explain it? We can start it off.
All right. Well, I was thinking we could talk about identity, and like we talked about, me and Paulo, we both kind of brought in authenticity, and I know the three of us, that's something we all pride ourselves in. So I think it would be cool to talk a little bit about identity and the ways we view authenticity, I guess, what it means to us.
So how far back do you think it kind of started? Because I always like starting with childhood because I feel like that kind of tells a lot where we all came back from, or just came from at least. You guys want to start it off, or do you want me to? Okay, I'll start it off. So when it comes back to just being, I guess, my own authentic self, I feel like this kind of started with everyone else. Like, I had no idea who the fuck I was back then. And I'm talking about, preteen to teen years. I guess I kind of saw myself as just a quiet person. I said that in my intro, but a lot of how people perceive me was like, oh, he's quiet. That's Mark. Like, he doesn't have an opinion. And I was like, what the fuck? If only you guys knew what the fuck was going through my head. You know what I mean? And yet I had so many opinions, but I guess I just didn't feel comfortable expressing myself. And obviously being around friends really helped a lot because I was able to figure out like my comedic role, because I guess until today, like, I really embrace that side of myself. I'm a pretty fucking weird dude, if I'm honest. Like, one day I can like Pokemon, Pokemon's my number one love, and then another day I can just like, I don't know, fishing. Like, that was so random. Yeah. But I think the fact that, I'm just kind of taking an overall theme when it comes to authenticity. Like, I just like what I like, and I guess I just learned to kind of block out what everybody else says about it, because everyone's always going to have an opinion on it. And I guess I just learned to embrace that. It wasn't hard as at a young age, at least, but I guess also being around you guys helped that a lot, because you guys were into your own things. So as I met you guys, throughout grade school and high school, a lot of it was like, oh, you guys are into these different things, and you also don't care what other people think. So being able to be around a group of people who are into different things and have a lot of different perspectives, I guess you can call us all weirdos in a way, but I just kind of embraced that, and then reflecting that back on myself, that helped a lot. So
do you find yourself getting more and more eccentric? Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I think I'm a fucking weirdo too, but like, do you find as you get older, like, one, the less you care, and two, kind of the more eccentric you get because you know what you like and you go with what you like?
Yeah, I think it's definitely both, right? Dude, like, one day I'm like into like carving birds out of wood. I went through a little phase like that.
Wait, is that what that was? I remember you had like little wooden things by the door
I was into
over there.
that for a little while. I still have that stuff, like, somewhere. Yeah, but stuff like that, and then then I'll go back to something that I know, like boxing.
Right.
It's just like whatever I'm into at the time.
So how did you guys get to that point? Like, how did you guys? Is it a personality thing? You think it's like almost an obsessive, almost addictive personality? You find little things that you get a little bit obsessed about?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Look at it this way. Like, I guess we can all agree we're all introverts, right?
Mm.
And so I feel like it starts with that, where even though I've had a sister, like I've always learned to just kind of, do shit by myself, unless I'm with friends, whatever. But I guess I explored so many different things, like, oh, it's not like anyone's playing with me, so why not try to get into this or learn about this? And I guess it kind of leads from there. Like I've explored so many different hobbies, I guess you can say, where obviously it starts off by, seeing it on TV, or maybe having firsthand experience, like learning from a cousin, like getting into a different hobby. But I guess it's just being open to trying new things. I mean, that sounds like some freaky ass shit, but but at a certain point, at a certain point, like again, like I've just embraced it to the point where it's like, this kind of speaks to what I'm into, and sometimes it doesn't make sense to me. Don't get me wrong. Like one day I can be into painting, like with my sister, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not half bad. But the fact that I tried, and some people are like, oh, that's fucking gay. It's like, fuck off. Like, what the hell are you trying? You know what I mean?
Dude, now that you say that, like, that's the biggest thing. People don't try stuff. People don't explore. They don't push their limits, their boundaries. Yeah. And it's like, I didn't think I would love having a cat until I got a cat, and I'm in fucking love with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just the willingness and openness to do things that's so important, and the ability for you to continue on. Yeah. But like, how did you like stop caring about what other people thought? How did you stop going for what you thought you should do into what you wanted to do? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. No, I think it's just kind of, it's something that happens over time, because I mean, we're all three of us are pretty introverted, and we're all like into our own kinds of things. And I feel like at first we probably did care a lot about what people thought about what we were doing. I can't really like pinpoint like the moment where I kind of stopped caring, right? But I know it didn't necessarily happen like super recently, but it was definitely not until I was like at least in like my early 20s where I like really, really didn't care. And it was almost like, this is probably like a good thing. It's like, at least I'm exploring like things outside of like what I know and like what people know me for. Yeah, because you never know if you're gonna like something unless you like actually go out and try it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, I've known you guys since high school, and it's like throughout that time, it's like we hung out with people and like we did things that like everybody that looks like us and is like us, like or at least at the time, like do, right? We probably didn't like really, really like come out and be comfortable, like open about the other things that we like until we got like a little bit older, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kind of pushing that question too, like you already mentioned high school. So I'm a big believer in the saying, like, birds of a feather flock together. And I think being friends with you guys, I mean, I'm just going to hype you guys up real quick. I think just being friends with you guys helped a lot because obviously you guys are into different kinds of things. But the thing is that like we embraced each other's interests, and yeah, like we're not very quick to judge. I mean, yeah, we might laugh at this or be like, what the fuck? Like you're into that shit. But other times it'd be like, that's kind of dope. Like that's different. And I think the fact that we embraced, the whole concept of different really helped us thrive, personally too. And it's funny that you said, Paulo, that you're more comfortable, I guess, after high school because, at that age, especially hopefully, we already had our set group of friends for the most part. And it was already way beyond the friendship that, that beginning friendship where it's like, I'm into, I don't know, fucking basketball or some shit. Like at that point, it's like we are into our own different things, but like our friendship is more than that. That's what it really came down to. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You definitely feel more pressure to like stay within a box when you're in high school, because you want to fit in as much as possible. And then, we've talked about this so many times, but us going to the high school that we went to,
right?
It's like you're pretty much doing anything that you can to find other people who share like similaries with you.
Or just to be fucking,
you want to feel safe, you want to feel safe.
Think about it like this. It's funny that you said that. And I mean, I know Mike, you and I had a lot of talks about this, but like going to the high school that we went to right off the bat, like we're minority. And I think the fact that we kind of like, that was a large part of our our teen years of just already being different, I feel like we just embrace that to the 10th power, because it's like, fuck. Like I might as be, not the fact that like we were trying to be known for doing a certain thing, but I think it was also more of like, if I'm already different and everyone's kind of labeling me as that, like why not just embrace that?
Oh, dude,
Like that,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
I just remember something. I feel like somebody asked us like one time. It was maybe during lunch, because we also used to sit at the same table, right?
Mhm.
I swear somebody asked us like, "Why do you guys all hang?" Like it wasn't meant in a malicious.
I don't think
way.
it was malicious. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was like, "Oh, why do you guys like all just hang out with each other?" Right?
Right.
And then I remember somebody said, I don't remember who said it, but they're like, "Well, why do you only hang out with white people?"
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't
dude.
remember like the details exactly, but I remember that happening. Right?
Yeah.
And they were kind of like, "Oh shit, like you have a point."
Yeah, because we're always seen as different.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember those days. Like,
Fuck, that kind of irked me. Like I experienced that in so many different ways, but it was very subtle. It's like, oh, why do you hang out with blah blah blah? It's like, the fuck? Like, why do you give a shit? Like, race doesn't really matter to me, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but apparently it was so evident at that school that it's like, it's so hard not to notice. It's like, you
Mhm.
don't really associate yourself with white people. It's like,
Mhm.
right.
I'm not racist against white people. And one thing that you brought up, Mike, was like, it was hard to associate myself with white friends when it really came down to it. Like, I don't know their struggles and they don't know mine. Like, it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's something that we all value at a certain
Yeah.
degree.
But
I
the
like
thing is,
wouldn't let. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, okay. We had white friends growing up, but it's like
Oh, yeah.
these white
Yeah,
friends
totally.
in our neighborhood, they were surrounded by Filipinos.
Mm.
Like Daniel, my neighbor, that lived next door, he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
literally surrounded by every side of him. There's 4 Filipino houses, and all of his brothers had Filipino friends their age.
Yeah.
And it's like all the white friends we had growing up we didn't experience any like an ounce of racism, at least from what I can remember from them and their family.
Yeah.
And it's going into the city, going into that specific part of town that we finally realized, like, oh shit, these guys are clueless. Like these guys really don't know
Right.
much about us. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, not all white people, but like some people are clueless.
No, they are. I didn't really experience that until high school. Actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember I wanted to go there so bad. I don't know if you guys felt the same way about going to our high school as I did, but I remember like just growing up and all these kids, like these older kids that I looked up to, who also went to, like they all went to that school, right? And I was like, oh, I really want to go there when I get older, when it's time for high school. And then I remember getting there, and it just felt like I made like a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
I mean, I would agree to a certain point.
Yeah,
I mean,
I also would agree.
I mean, was that your biggest shock too, Mike? I'm curious.
Yeah, it was a big culture shock
about that place.
Yeah,
about that place. Jesus.
Trying my best not to mention it.
Yeah, that specific place. No, I'm with you. But one thing I noticed is that we reminisce a lot about high school, obviously because we were kicking it a lot more, and I feel like that's where we grew up the most. I guess in terms of identity, just kind of bring it back on track. How do you think you embraced that or kind of changed your identity, I guess, college years to now?
So
okay, cool. Sorry.
You know how like we were talking about like, oh yeah, like we just stopped giving a fuck and just did what we want to do.
Right.
For me, it was almost the opposite. For me, it was like I cared too much about what people think, and so I wanted to prove them wrong. And it's like I got into these little obsessions because I wanted to prove to people. One, like we're talking about, the high school we went to didn't have a lot of seasoning, and I feel like I wanted to put in a little bit of flavor into whatever I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like show them how we did it. Like this is how we represent us Asians. Like we're not just what you see on TV. We're not just kung fu. We're not just these like submissive people. Like let me represent. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I wanted to do.
Right.
And yeah, even though I was doing literally like the stereotypical Filipino thing to do was like dance and like making covers like Passion and Get Bundak. But like I just wanted to kind of show the flavor that we had and kind of again show that even though I am not the standard, that we have flavor and we have something to show. And then growing into college, I guess, into myself, I started realizing what I wanted and what I did for show, and I realized like I guess this is more me. If that makes sense.
And how about as a
Right.
person as well, just to add on to that, and not swaying away as much from like music, it sounded like for you especially. How about as a person? Do you feel like you notice yourself evolving more, like maybe being more assertive, or, you know, different character traits that you saw yourself changing?
To be honest, a lot of that assertiveness, a lot of that, I guess, confidence or whatever you want to call it, came from work and having to, like in the restaurant business industry, there's no room, there's no time for bullshit. And so you kind of have to be assertive and firm in order to you guys all know how it is working in the different jobs you guys worked at. Like
Right.
you have to, there's a flow, and you have to kind of learn and understand the flow. And in order to do that, there's no room for bullshit. And I think that's working and growing up definitely helped me to establish that, I guess.
Oh, for sure. And that's so powerful because, you know, working with different people, I feel like being exposed to different personalities and different work styles, and you're able to kind of self-reflect, you know, knowing the three of us, like when we learn something new or experience something new or shocking, whatever, I feel like we can all agree that we all self-reflect a lot. And I feel like that's where we grow the most. And that's cool how, I mean, I know you had a lot of different jobs, especially through college. And so I'm sure that helped a lot shape who you were, because, you know, for both of you, I mean, I can say that we all changed in a certain way or became more assertive or spoke our minds more. But yeah, how about for you, Paulo?
I think for me, like that maturity came more so from like just meeting a lot of different kinds of people, like throughout my early 20s. Like, you know, just the different circles that we were in. Like you could take like BLD, for example.
Sure.
Right. Like we all went through that phase. And then just, you know, making friends. You know, you're like exploring the city like when you get a little bit older. And then you're making friends from like, oh, let's say like a different school, right? Like somebody that goes to like a different college maybe. And then you get like introduced to their friends. And then a lot of those people are from maybe like a different place. Like I remember when I started meeting like a lot of people like from Hawaii. Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like you're seeing like a completely different like just way of looking at the world, and just like a completely different way that they live. And it was funny because it's like, you know, there's like a lot of Filipinos in Hawaii, so it's like you're seeing people that look like you and like kind of act like you, but like sometimes the points of view are like so different. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I mean, I still go through that today, but I remember that just those kind of experiences just happening a lot more like when we were younger.
Yeah. Do you feel like you embraced a different side of yourself, especially like, because I know you're kicking it pretty heavy with, you know, people from Hawaii. I guess that sounds weird saying that, but
oh, after that, like after
like in a,
just meeting,
like I don't know how in what way, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, yes and no. I think when I was in high school, it's like I was trying to connect more with like the Filipino identity or like the Filipino American side.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I was doing whatever I could to like fit in that way. Right.
Sure.
Then I started to get a little bit older, and it's like I want to start exploring myself like outside of these boundaries, because it's like we're hanging out with people that are still like doing the same thing, and it's like they just remain the same, and it's like you're thinking in your mind, it's like I know that there's more to this than like this. It's like that's what pushed me to like want to meet new people and like go to different places. And I know that like that played like a huge role for me like growing up during that time.
Yeah, I feel like I can wholeheartedly agree with that. I feel like I definitely saw that too, for sure, in you. Like after going, you know, starting new and refreshed, and you know, creating your own identity somewhere else, you kind of get to do a clean slate and get a different taste of culture.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's so important for everybody to get out of their little friend zone sometimes.
And you don't like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like I actually left at one point, you know, but you don't have to do that in order to like experience, right? You don't have to do that. Like that's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah,
I just was fortunate enough to like be able to like live in Hawaii.
Yeah,
but you know, you don't have to do something like that in order to like experience something different.
But you're so right. Like, did you feel like when you came back that some people just stayed exactly the same?
Oh yeah, and like honestly, that was part of the reason that I left
Hmm.
too, because I don't know, you get just tired of doing the same thing like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, you're like a little bit younger and you like want to experience something new.
Agreed.
Like you have the opportunity to do that. So
Hmm.
And I noticed this just to kind of add on to that, like especially at that time, because you were gone for college for like
it was only a year.
yeah, but
it was
it
only a
felt I guess it felt like a lot because obviously we were kicking a lot back then. But
It felt like forever.
it really did.
Every day.
Yeah.
Those are good times.
But I do remember once you did come
Some of the
back.
best times actually.
Well, yeah, well, I do remember you changed in a way where it's like I guess you're more adventurous in a way because you know, meeting new people. I guess you kind of caught that bug where it's like, you know, I'm curious what is there to explore here, you know, back in the hometown.
Oh, like here, like in Seattle.
Yeah, once you're back from Hawaii.
Oh,
like,
you know what, man? Like one of the biggest changes, like coming back home, was just seeing like those first effects of like gentrification.
Oh,
like that.
That
That
was
was
the time.
yeah. That was. I remember coming back home and going to Cap Hill one night, and then I saw this some kind of complex. I'm sure it was condos, right?
yeah.
And I was like, dude, I do not remember this being here. It was just like this super big, like brand new building, right?
Fuck, that's still happening though.
Dude,
God
you can see
damn.
Greenwood right now. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's that. Isn't there that huge building that they're finishing in that empty lot?
Yeah.
That used to be an empty lot. That's next to a Green Bean, right? Yeah, that thing's huge. But yeah, I remember coming back here and like that was kind of like the first little bit of change that I noticed when I got back here.
Mm.
And then like over the years, it's just, you know, you're like we can stay here and already have that experience of like new things because there's so many different people
Right.
like coming into the city like every day.
Yeah, all these transplants, man.
Yeah. That's what it is. I mean, they're not all, you know, I have like the reputation of like trashing on these people.
Yeah,
just 'cause
yeah.
it's, like, you know, just because the city's getting more crowded, there's like more traffic. It's like costs are going up, so things like that are gonna happen. But they're not all transplants are gentrifiers.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, a lot of my best friends are transplants. So
Yeah.
it's transplant. Yeah. But speaking on like getting thrown into something new, like Mark, I remember you got thrown like in the hospital, like those jobs that you got thrown into, like did that change you a lot?
Oh, definitely. So you'll kind of hear this in Brian's episode, but I mentioned it very briefly. But basically, what Mike's talking about is that I worked in a hospital, and I worked with kids, and it was basically a psychiatric unit. So it's an inpatient unit, and long story short, like in a way, I was a counselor in a way, not necessarily a therapist, but a counselor. So I helped them get through their daily life and through therapy. Like we were kind of like the coaches in between time, and you know, kids are coming there for, you know, depression, anything for like regarding a crisis center, like you name it, they were there. Like eating disorder, psychosis, autism spectrum, like everything. And me being me, like growing up, like I was pretty sheltered. You know, I feel like we can all agree to this at a certain point. Like growing up in Seattle, especially in the fucking burbs, like you don't really experience, especially these kinds of things. And I feel like college was a time where I really learned a lot about myself. But by the time I was in the working world, so in this example, I learned so much about myself from that job because it really challenged me mentally. You know, how fucking ironic, because
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, I have a degree in psychology, and I thought I was so gung-ho and was like, oh man, I love mental health. And, you know, not that I don't, but I think having that firsthand experience, if I'm honest, like that shit kind of tainted me. My experience wasn't as great because I internalized a lot. And that was the number one thing right off the bat you shouldn't be while you're working there. And I also enjoy relationships just with people and like long-term relationships and, you know, getting to know somebody, but most especially being a mentor. And basically everything that I knew about myself, that job was the opposite. So as great as experience as it was, like that shit kind of tainted me. But I mean, just to speak good about it, it made me realize even more who I thought I was. Like it kind of made me embrace that especially even more. You had
It
a
was
question?
hard not to take that stuff home with you, huh?
Oh hell
Just
yeah!
things
And I
you
remember
experienced.
I don't know why, but I remember distinctly like going to your house for like a little house party, Paulo. And I remember somebody asked me about it. And that's a thing too. At that time, like there's so much pressure of people asking like, oh, what are you doing with your life now? Especially, you
Yep.
know, college
Yep.
is done, like chop chop, like what's the next thing for you? And I was in the mentality of like, oh yeah, it's great. And I remember just lying under my breath. It's like, it's really not that great. For me, that's the number one thing. For me,
Yes.
I knew it was
Mm.
it was a great opportunity, don't get me wrong, but that was my first taste of real life, if I'm honest.
Yes.
And that really changed me, because even to this day, I'll look back at the experiences that I have had there, and I'll never experience those crazy time, like literally crazy times, and especially lessons that I learned about myself. Like my
Yes.
anxiety was so high at that time of my life, but also like I had many moments of self-realization too, because at that point I had an idea of like what I don't want.
Yes. That's
And
Right.
yeah, that just opened a lot of doors to what I want to do in my life. Because I mean,
people don't realize that.
Yeah.
People don't realize that knowing what you don't want is just as important as knowing what you do want.
yeah,
Mhm.
And it's like important because like sometimes life gives you lemons and then sometimes life throws a brick right into your face.
right.
But it's important.
A
you know?
hint of lemon.
A hint of lemon, yeah.
Hint of lemon. No, kind of going off of that, I'm curious, like, because I guess you can kind of deem that as my turning point, in terms not necessarily career, but like as a person, because that's a moment I really felt challenged as a person. So, kind of going off that, I guess, are there any moments where you guys were challenged?
Every day, brother.
Well,
Every day.
like post college or like, you know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
I feel like there's like few moments in our lives. I mean, this is kind of getting sappy, but like a few moments where it's like you realize you're not who you thought you were.
Mm.
And I can say for a fact, like that experience, that work experience pushed me, because I've always thought work was work. But that work was different. Like it tugged at me in a different way. Like it challenged me as a person, because to be able to survive there at that specific job, very high stress, you really had to know what your weaknesses were, but most especially what your strengths were. And I guess I didn't realize how weak, you know, or how strong certain attributes of myself were. And that shit exposed the fuck out of me, if I'm honest. And I still take it to this day, because it was a great opportunity and a very hard experience or experiences. But I take that with me every day, like in whatever job I am doing, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and every lesson, like I always look back at those times, especially, and be like, man, I remember learning about this, and maybe not to the same extent or intensity, but like it's changed me. But yeah, kind of throwing that back on you guys. Like, what about you guys?
An experience that's similar to that, I think, really hard job I had was at managing the green bean. And that was such a rough point in my life. Like being a manager and then being a manager at a nonprofit like that, where I'm surrounded by so many different types of people, you know, like the homeless, the substance abuse. We even had some like, you know, Aurora, like sex workers that would stop by. And on top of that, like normal, I want to say normal is not the correct word, but like people from the neighborhood, you know, locals that would stop by in the midst of all that. And not only that, but like I had a goal to make it more POC friendly, because it's, you know, a neighborhood, a part of town that sometimes POC don't feel comfortable in. And like I had so much ambitions and dreams of making it into something, and there were so many characters and people there that I became like what's the word? I adored, that I cared about. And
Sure.
like you said, like it's really hard not to bring that home with you. And I feel like I learned the hard way that maybe that's not for me, because it's like I took too much seriously, took too much personally. I cared too much about people and shit like that. And I think I had to learn to step back and step away from a position like that, even though it's like I had such big dreams and ambitions of what I wanted to do with it.
So how did you learn how to do that? Because I feel like one is experiencing it, but two, like at a certain point, like it's either you tip over and kind of, it's, you know, just kind of explode on people, or you deal with it. Like, how did you deal with that?
Man, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like I became a little more reclusive. Like I stopped really hanging out with you guys. I always turned down invitations to do stuff, and I was just so emotionally, socially drained. Like I felt like the life was sucked out of me. Part of it, I think the biggest thing that helped me was boxing. That let me air everything out. I would literally, after my shift, go straight to the boxing gym and air everything out, let everything out. And that's really it, because I had so much pent up aggression and anger from the bullshit I occurred that happened every day at that coffee shop, that little coffee shop. And yeah, so that's what helped me deal with it.
No, and that's huge too. I mean, kind of chiming in on that too, like I don't want to sound negative about my experience, but since you kind of gave like your solution to that, like surprisingly, that was the most time I spent working in our church. So at our church, I just have a passion for working with youth, which is fucking funny because you know, I kind of I really thought I hated kids. I guess what I don't like kids under the age of like, you know, 10, because I have a hard time. Like I have a middle school mind and a high school mind at heart. Like I'm just a fucking troll. And I feel like that resembles a lot with, you know, kids that age. Like I'm a very sarcastic person and I love that shit. You know what I mean? And that was how I connected, especially with kids at that age. And so where I'm getting at is at that time in my life, yeah, it was dark when I was working at that mental health department, whatever. But surprisingly, that was one of the best times that I had helping youth out. So I was a youth group leader at our local church, and I did it with friends as well. So they were leaders as well. So I wasn't just like the only one experiencing these things. But no, working with teens at that time, like that was huge, because I remember I was able to explore my faith, especially at a personal level, because so that was huge for me, because a lot of these kids are from the public school in our areas. And so just being able to bring my experiences that I had at that job at that time, but also chime in with my own personal experience, you know, through grade school, high school, whatever, just being able to do that in the capacity of talking about faith, I feel like that was so therapeutic for me, because I changed as a person, because I was able to experience life at that point, like really experience life at that point. And I finally felt like I had something not important to say, but impactful to say, especially when talking with the youth, because they want to hear about experiences, you know, they want to know like how real life is, because at a certain point, like if they do find themselves in a certain situation, like they want to look back at, you know, mentors that have taught them, and they'll know how to go through that situation. So
yes.
Yeah, I feel like that led into your next position. Like
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Do you think it was the fire, the pressure that pushed you into like the right direction, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. Because I remember, I mean, in a nutshell, after I left that mental health job, I already had an irk for working in the education field. And, you know, that was a big jump for me, because not that I had a lot of experience in mental health, but like it was a different framework of working with kids, and that fit pretty well with me. So I was a middle school instructional assistant, 3.5 years. I don't fucking know, but that was a fun time. You know what I mean? So mix that with, you know, being a mentor. Like ultimately I love being a mentor, and that's,
and then coaching too.
And I coached, I coached youth basketball too. Like. So I guess in a nutshell, I was working with a lot of youth after college, and I think that's where my experience finally helped me out, because I was able to put what I learned to practice, and I was like, man, this is on the same path of like what I feel passionate about. So
yeah,
but
and I think one thing I like about all of us is that we all went with our gut, and we all did things that made us feel good, that made us feel better. You know, we all kind of found our little like niche and went with it.
Right, like it's the challenge, and then it turns into something else.
Exactly.
But what about you, Paulo? Like, not necessarily, like it can be a life event too, and then it kind of challenges you to hopefully change for the better in
Dude, I feel
your
like that was just kind of like my 20s in general.
Mm,
I mean, it's still happening now because we're
of
always
course.
growing, right? But I feel like we just go through so many weird randoms in our 20s, like different experiences, you know? And I remember, like for me, I feel like school and relationships played like a big, like right off the top of my head, that's what I
Sure.
can remember.
Sure.
Like, yeah, just kind of like taking a while for me to figure out what I wanted to do in school for like a few years before I actually left, right? To finish my degree finally. And then just going through like, I'm trying not to name names here.
I mean, let's just put that in a ball though. I mean, not to downplay it, but like,
Yeah.
because I feel like,
Yeah, go ahead.
like, how do you think that's changed you, or kind of changed the way you think about your life, or like your wants in life? Because I feel like you had a fire, especially after that, like a good fire. You really strove more to do what you wanted, or felt like was in line with what you wanted. So for example, like, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the whole creative striking movement, let's just call it a movement. Honestly, I don't know if that would happen if you're in a relationship still. You can correct me if I'm wrong, and
No,
maybe
I don't
I'm not trying to be an ass for making that big
yeah.
assumption, but I don't know. What's your take on that?
No, yeah, I mean that's definitely something that doing something like that, it just requires a lot. It kind of requires you to be selfish, I guess, like in a good way. It's like you're
I wouldn't say
devoting.
selfish, but yeah.
You know what I mean, though? It's like you're devoting your time and energy, or you want to be devoting a lot of your time and energy towards something that you're really, really passionate about.
Yeah, I like to say investing in yourself. I mean,
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot.
yeah. But
and we can talk about that after. I feel very inclined to talking about that, but
Okay.
yeah. So I would say investing in yourself. So yeah, was it mainly that, or do you feel like there was more to how you were changing at that time?
behind me starting it.
Well,
yeah, actually going back to like what I talked about, a little bit of what I talked about the last time. If I go back to like how it really started, it was us kind of just like fucking around, like when it came to the creative striking thing.
Yeah.
No, actually, even before that, we just like I got back into boxing. Like Michael was just starting at the time.
Yeah.
Right. And then I remember like Diddy and Ross, they were just like fucking around with some boxing gloves. I think it was after the Super Bowl or something like that.
Yeah.
That sounds very much like them. Yeah.
They're doing that, and then I think you guys might have been there that night. Actually, it was probably after you left. But they started doing that stuff, and then like all the training and stuff that I had done before, it's like that stuff kind of started to like come into play.
Okay.
So yeah, that was like the beginning of like getting back into that, and then like Michael happened to be like he was training at the time, So all this stuff started coming together. So like this love for boxing came back, and then like for other people it was like something new, right? But then creative striking was I was like with a friend in San Francisco, and then we were just having this conversation about life.
Yeah.
I'm like 27 at the time. We're just like at a bar, and we're talking about like we're kind of having this quarter life crisis thing going on. And then I don't know, I just came back from that trip, and I was like motivated to capitalize on something that I was passionate about, because I just felt like I owed it to myself to like do more with it.
Can I add like one thing on that? Like the whole creative striking and where it is now, it's not just it doesn't just show like your skills as a coach, but also your skills as like a connector, and like you were able to bring people together and to connect them and to give us an environment where we can
I definitely don't feel like it's just me anymore, like, and I don't think I ever meant for it to be that anyway.
But I think
I think it refers to like all of us now.
Yeah.
Well, also just to chime in on that, I think as a person, like, again, I don't ever mean this in a bad way, but I saw you evolve more as a mentor and a coach, because just like what Mike said, like I've never seen that side of you, especially for something that you feel very passionate about, and then sharing that with other people. Like, I think that was just really cool to see how you kind of put a lot of people under your wing, like, with the experience that you did have, and that a lot of people didn't really realize with karate and all that. Like, that was really cool to be able to just be a mentor overall. And
because it's even more mental, I think, than it is physical. And like you taught us you taught us the skills, but I think you need to have that right mentality, the right mindset in order to do it. And like speaking on that, like when you did come back, like I don't remember if this was before or after that trip, but you put yourself in that tournament. You fucking
Yeah, you did.
competed in that
Oh
tournament.
yeah,
You just fucking
some karate kid.
you were like, hey, I want to do this shit. You
Yeah,
fucking did that shit. You know what I mean?
I completely forgot about it, to be honest.
yeah.
But I remember that was like really important for me because like I was coming off that broken foot too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Like, you had to wrap up your foot that day.
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember you wrapped it. You wrapped it. Like
I used to call it the boom and the clap because the boom was the big ass, swollen ass foot, and the clap was a normal foot. But I think that was just me. But yeah, I remember that.
You know, all that shit was like a blessing, though. Honestly, like, or just being able to get back into martial arts was a blessing. It was a blessing because it happened with like the people that I was closest to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And it's like-
definitely think that helped the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just being around, doing it with friends, especially, like that's
Yeah.
huge.
It like really keeps it going, you know.
Yeah.
It's like it's definitely a lot easier than having to find your own group of people that you might not even necessarily like click with.
Yeah.
So I was like very blessed in that way, and we're still doing it. So
Yeah.
that goes to show.
So just kind of seeing how you guys are now. Again, kind of reiterating what Paulo said earlier, like we're always going to be evolving. Like there's no doubt about that. But I guess kind of mixing identity with age. I guess what are some things that you see yourself becoming, or like how do you think you're evolving as a person now? So one thing we all have in common, like we're in our early 30s, or Michael and I are approaching our 30s. And so how do you think you're evolving as a person, especially now?
Like now that I'm approaching this stage, I really have stopped giving a fuck of what people think, and just like I mentioned earlier, I've kind of almost gotten a little eccentric.
Yeah.
Like to the
That's all.
I'm fucking weird, man. And it's like because I'm locked up in my
Yeah.
apartment.
But you're like, oh, you're totally okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with being weird. But sometimes, like like I said, like being locked up in my apartment, I just get into my own world, and then I step into the real world and be like, oh shit, like this isn't normal.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, man, I feel like as I get older, it's the more I realize who I guess I truly am. I know that's something we always keep saying. But.
Right. But it's like every year, I feel like, I mean, maybe it's just me putting a lot of pressure on turning 30. Like, I feel like that is a milestone to some exist. And, whoever is older that's listening to this, they're probably laughing their asses off. They're like, wait till you turn 40 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing, though, is that, one, like, whatever we're saying, this is how we feel. And two, it's like, this is what feels most true to us right now, because we're experiencing how it is going into your early 30s. And this is totally different from what we've experienced. Yeah. And, at a certain point, like, I know we're not even going to start looking back at high school. Maybe we'll think about the good times, but like, hopefully soon, like, we'll just start thinking about like our 20s and,
Yeah. But to add on to that, like, I will say, like, it's not just, I feel like I'm not just evolving, though. I feel like a negative of getting older is I feel like I'm jaded. I feel like I am stubborn and jaded, and I feel like I'm almost immovable.
Yeah.
I have these opinions that might not necessarily be correct, and I feel like I don't have that same fire as I did when I was 20.
That's true.
And sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I have to look at old videos of us and look at the pictures and shit that we used to do, and realize like, holy shit, like I really don't have that fire anymore. I'm set in my ways and I'm comfortable. And like, as cool as that sounds, there's moments where, you get knocked down. There's moments where you realize like, oh shit, like I need to pick it up, like.
Right. But kind of throwing this back at you, like that's not new to you though, if you think about it.
For sure.
Like we've all, like, maybe not to this extent, but like I'm sure there are times like you didn't feel like playing like a gig or whatever, and you're like, I'm gonna take a break for like the next couple months. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not to that extent, but at the same time, think about it like this: like that's just kind of life in general. Like and it's like I'm using Paulo as an example for this. Like for example, like karate wasn't a big part of his life for a while, and then most recently it kind of came back in the form of boxing. So kind of using that as a a little example and comparing it to life, like I feel like this is necessary if you think about it, because it's like how bad, how much do you like this? How bad do you want something? You know, like how bad do you want music, especially in your case? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's part of your story. Like that's a big part for me. You know what I mean? Like that's part of your narrative, and so you have control what you're going to do next. Like that's up to you. But you know what I mean?
I do.
Putting a positive spin on it though, like I feel like you need that. Like it's not going to be fucking butterflies all the time, but I feel like you need to feel that occasionally to be like, okay, how can I change this to, you know, enlighten it a little bit better, or, you know, spice it up a bit or whatever. But ultimately I feel like your goal is still the same, whatever that may be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And maybe that's, maybe a little bit of stubbornness, maybe a little bit of jadedness is necessary, because there's like, in terms of music, maybe even boxing and martial arts, in terms of like style, sometimes you're doing something in order to, you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is what the audience wants to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I should play. And then when you are a little bit jaded and you are a little bit stubborn, you're like, no, this is what sounds good to me, and this is how I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
If you look at musicians, like certain musicians are known for their certain sound, because that's in their heads, like this is how it should be played. Like Questlove, for instance, you're going to know it's Questlove drumming, you know what I mean? Or Steve Jordan, or like people like that. It's like, because they hit a certain way, they hit it at a certain beat, and they do what sounds right in their head. And that's, again, part of authenticity, part of their brand. Yeah. And like fighters, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., they're old now, but they're still their style. And maybe it is good to have a degree of stubbornness so that you can realize your style. And I guess, sorry, I'm just fucking running my mouth right now.
No, you're good.
But like, I think for us, we were always underdogs. I think we've always the underdog story. And I was talking to you a little bit about this, Paulo, the other day. Like, we used to admire certain boxers, like Pacquiao, for instance. But some things are just God-given talents. Some things you're just born with. And I feel like all three of us felt like, you know, we weren't born necessarily with those kind of extravagant gifts. But we do have something special in our own way. We have our own it factor in our own way. And we have to learn to work on those. Yeah. Have our own brand, I guess.
Yeah. And I also think like we are getting more comfortable with showing that to people.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. I mean, we all know people that have always been really comfortable with like being out there. Right. And I think when I was younger, I used to like,
this is our fucking time, baby. Fuck, dude. Oh my God. Sorry, that just fucking irked me real quick. Sorry, I just had to say that.
I used to like hate and clown on these people.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And I just used to think it was corny, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
Some of these people that are just like out here, just like no shame promotion, right?
Yeah.
And like, dude, I will never do that. Like, that's not me, right? Like, I'm too, like, you know, this is the way I used to think. Like, I'm too real. Like, I'm too authentic to like to do that. You know, I'm not a sellout like that, right?
Yeah.
But then over time, like, I started to realize that there's nothing wrong with like putting yourself out there. It's just whether or not you're presenting the right version of yourself that's consistent with who you actually are. Right? If I'm out there trying to be like that person that I was talking shit about, then it's like, yeah, I'm selling out. But it's like if I'm doing it in my way that's like consistent with me, and, you know.
So what's your example of that? I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna push you on that question. So where does that example come from?
Where does that example come from?
Yeah.
Wait, you mean what I just said?
Yeah.
All that shit that I just talked?
Yeah.
Where does it come from? You really want me naming names right now?
No. Not where it comes from, as in like you're basing that off of like what, like that's from creative striking, right? Like.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So let's frame it in
mainly.
that sense, I guess, because I know we had this conversation about like promoting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of putting it in that context, I guess.
To be honest with you, I mean, if I was to be really honest about what I've done with creative striking, I definitely haven't promoted it like as well as maybe I should have or could have, right?
Well, based off other people's expectations.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
And you know, you get a lot of people like you start something, and I'm sure you know we all have experience with this. Like you start something new, you have like a new venture, and you got other people like trying to get in your ear, telling you like how you're supposed to do it. You know?
Sure.
They're like giving you unsolicited advice.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. But I don't know, man. It's like you can feel when it's wrong, though. Like,
Yes.
if you're taking people's advice and like instead of like listening to what you know you should do with it, it's like that might work for a little bit, but it's like if it feels wrong, then it's not gonna come off like the way that you envisioned it, anyways.
Well, wouldn't
And,
you
like-
agree too? Like, I guess somebody who doesn't really know us, like they would be like, "What do you mean wrong?"
Mhm.
Do you mean wrong in the sense that like it's not authentic to like how you want to do it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not like I'm like nowadays. It's like I don't give a fuck what people think. You know. It's like, and that plays a lot into the way that I guess I promote it. And I'm not like even now. I mean, you have the pandemic going on and everything, but
Sure.
I don't really. I'm on like social media and stuff, but I'm not out there the way that I guess some people would expect me to be.
Sure.
And I've talked about this before, but I don't really run it as a business anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I found out that wasn't like that wasn't what I wanted for it to begin with, or maybe it was, but it's like the way that maybe I was expected to run it isn't like the way that I envisioned it. I don't know if
Sure.
that makes any sense.
Right,
Yeah,
but you're
'cause I
still
wanted it
learning.
to be about the art first of all.
Yes.
Right,
like-
but some people will never understand that. They'll just
Exactly,
they'll
exactly.
just see it and just be like, "Why aren't you on this platform? Why aren't you on this platform?" But
Mhm.
in your head, like your goal is different, and that's fine.
Yeah,
And, it's
and my goal changed over time. You know.
Oh,
Like,
right.
yeah, but
Right.
go ahead.
I feel like you kept your posts are very thoughtful and they're very sincere, like authentic to you. And I
Mhm.
think you keep the art an art, you keep it sacred. And I think also like you and I, we've seen different profiles where we're like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, what is
Yeah.
going on here? And I think you kind of, like the two of you guys, I like to think like all of us possess a certain degree of emotional intelligence. Like we kind of see things deeper from what the surface level is. We kind of are intuitive folks. And I think we know when something feels a little bit wrong, a little slimy. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are turned off by that salesman kind of pitch thing.
Oh,
that
of
people-
course.
It's like a cheap car salesman.
Exactly. But like
A
what
used car salesman. Sorry.
the creative striking feels real. if that
Shit, I
makes-
hope so. I hope so, boys.
Well, it's
I
funny
hope
that
so.
you're saying that too, Mike. Like, I think, especially looking at my life, a big thing is kind of going back to being authentic. Like, I guess I can agree that all three of us, like, we want to give our most authentic self,
Yes.
but also have the right intent. Because I feel
Yeah.
like I wouldn't be. So I guess, for example, when it comes to content, like Hint of Lemon is my content. But the thing is that I'm not just gonna bullshit and just post something, just I have a certain intention of putting it out there. And I feel like that's one thing that I'm embracing, especially as I'm getting older. Like, I want to spread positivity in a way. And so this is kind of like my, I guess, platform to do it in a free way, in like freely without judgment. Obviously this may not settle with a lot of people in a certain way. They'll just be like, oh, they're just talking about their feelings. Or, they're just talking about, what ifs of life. They're just talking about what they've been through. Like, what's the fucking point? It's like, the point is like, this is life. And just being able to express like what we have gone through, but also be able to reflect back, which is what we do already. Like we would be having this conversation off of this podcast. But the thing is that we're sharing it basically with the world where people would be like, damn, I never really thought of it like that. Because some people don't have a positive spin like us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Some people just be like, yeah, I went through this shit. Sucks.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of the story. But it's like, I'm worried about like, are you all right? Like, how are you growing from this? Is it tainting you? You know what I mean?
Yes. Big.
And
And
so, yeah.
You keep it responsible. You're very responsible. Like whenever, what I mean by that is like the experience that you've been through, that you take responsibility for it, and you spin it and you make something positive out of it. Like you said, like most people will be like, yeah, I want to, like you said, this bullshit. And a lot of people don't take responsibility for it, and they just blame it on the world, I guess. But
I mean, part of it's our personality, but like, I feel like we would all be like that. But one, being an introvert kind of helps, if I'm honest, because we're able to self-reflect.
yeah.
But like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm speaking for myself now. Like, I could have easily been tainted by a lot of the things in my life. And of course, some people are going to be like, what the fuck have you been through? And it's like, if only you knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can
It's
say
like-
that about anybody
Yeah.
too. You know what I mean?
Just
Like,
because you don't share, like,
Exactly.
man, just 'cause you don't
right.
share that.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, we don't share everything, but like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've had instances in your life, you guys don't have to say, but like, where it's really irked you or challenged you as a person, and you've thought to yourself, like, man, this is either going to slowly like make you jaded, but like at a certain point, use that as fuel to be better, like a better version of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, this kind of feels preachy now, but I'm going to say it anyways. Like, especially at this age, I feel like I'm definitely embracing all the shitty things in my life. Like, this pandemic is fucking huge for me. And I can't stress that enough. Like, you're going to hear that in every episode. But I think just being able to reflect back on the things I've been through, I've finally am giving myself credit that I went through those things.
Yes.
And credit meaning like, yeah, it sucked. Yeah, that's great. But like, years has passed already. Am I just going to keep dwelling?
Yeah.
Or am I going to evolve as a person and kind of use that as fuel to better myself?
That's
'Cause
beautiful.
You'd be fucking surprised. There's a lot of tainted people in this world. Why do I want to be another person who, you know what I mean? That's a big thing for me. Like, there's enough negative people out in the world. Why do I have to be one of them? I don't want to be one of them. That's a thing.
Yes. Yeah. That's so powerful. Yeah, what you just said. And that's true ownership. And I feel like you can only have growth when you have that ownership.
I feel like we all went through that, or still go through it. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
it's okay to carry that stuff around as reminders, but it's like you
Of
don't
course.
want to let it like, and it's gonna affect. You know, everything is gonna affect you like negatively to like
Of
a
course.
degree. I guess you know, and you know, honestly, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit jaded from like the things that you've experienced, because it's like being like that protects you. In a way.
I mean,
and you do still need
yeah.
that. Like, it's good to like, you know, to try to remain as you can't remain like innocent, right?
no.
Yep.
But you don't want to just be so like shut off and like cold that it's like you cut yourself off from like having new experiences or like trying something new, right?
Yes.
But it's like it's good to carry that around to like remind you and like to remind you like where you've been and to remind you you don't have to be that person.
Yes.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. Like, not everybody can realize they're becoming that person. I mean, I'm not going to throw too much shade, but like, I know a couple people in my life where it's like they always had that one perception that their life would be this way.
Yeah.
And then they turn out to just be that hater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's just like
a cautionary tale kind of deal.
And that's the most simple way I can put it, because like they just end up being that person who always hates on everything and just has a negative spin to everything. And that shit is draining, man. Like,
gotta point the finger.
Yeah. Like the last finger they want to point at is at themselves.
Dude,
and it's like,
at a point, like at a certain point, you got to start looking at yourself, man. Like,
yeah,
that's like the hard thing to do. Though. Oh yeah.
You can't just tell someone look at yourself. They have to believe it themselves.
Yeah, that's a hard moment though to deal with. Like,
do you feel like that's more evident?
You.
Well,
yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow. The hardest pill to swallow.
Do you think that's more evident now that we're getting older? Just being able to, I mean, self-reflection is something that we do pretty well on, but like, can you say it's always not easy, but like, do you find yourself self-reflecting now and maybe being like, okay, maybe it was me?
So Kendrick Lamar, in an interview, he said that change comes from within. And, at first, like, okay, sure, change comes from within. What does that mean? But it's like you actively can change your environment from just your internal point of view. And like, think of the law of attraction, all this, like what can sound like mumbo jumbo shit to some people. But it's like, if you carry around this baggage, this hatred, this anger, it's going to manifest physically if it's inside of you. And no matter what you do, people are going to see you and be like, you know what I mean? And you're going to start feeling like, okay, why are people like standoffish towards me? Why are people so aggressive towards me? Why are people so angry? It's because you're harboring all of this anger and you're manifesting it physically. And I think that if you are in a situation where your environment feels toxic, then you have the opportunity to see, like, you know what, maybe I could be that shining light. Maybe I could change my inside. Maybe I could bring in that positivity. And it's not that easy. Obviously, I'm oversimplifying things, but like, there's a moment where, like, when they say a smile is infectious, you can see radiant people. Like, I know really brilliant, radiant people who walk into a room and they light up the whole room. And like, that's something that people can do. Like, if you are harboring that, the spiteful, angry energy, that's how the world's going to treat you. But if you pop into a room full of positivity, excitement, whatever you want to call it, then that's how the world will react to you. It's a reflection. Your world is a reflection of your insides. And it's so crazy to think that, but something I learned, and I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, man, the people you surround yourself with are a reflection.
Oh,
Yes.
As well. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, like, you guys ever just like stop to think about the people that you're closest to, like your friends? Like, I feel like I do that a lot now, where it's like, you know, they say, what do they say about like your friends? It's like a reflection of who you are. Right?
Yeah.
Your closest friends, right? And I really do like take time to think about that these days.
It's for sure. And look at where we are now. Like, we surround ourselves with each other, and there's certain people in our lives that are gone now, and that says something.
I guess putting up a barrier towards other people, because, you know, at a certain point, like, I know when I connect with somebody, and not saying that if I don't connect with somebody, I don't fuck with them. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it's more of
There's
like
a time and place.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm saying like long-term friendships, especially, like, I'm not going to keep you around, especially if like, not that you have to be on the same wavelength as me and have the same thought process as me or agree with the things I'm saying, but it's more of like, one,
yes, man, if you will.
right, like, can you challenge me in the way I'm thinking, but also it's like, do you have the same intentions as me? Because you can have a certain way of thinking, but if your intentions is like, for example, like, I'm just kind of throwing this out, if your intention is making money, like, right off the bat, like, that kind of doesn't resonate with what I'm doing. Yeah, it's great to make money, but especially when we're talking about, like, I guess a passion project, for example, that's not going to resonate with me.
Yes.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to, you know what I mean? I don't know how to further that.
Thinking
But
all of us, we're all working our passion project right now.
Yeah, of course.
That goes with that feel, that unspoken feel.
Yeah.
And intentions is so important because a lot of people don't understand their intentions, and a lot of people who aren't emotionally intelligent, they don't understand that their intentions are wide open. Like, they could be doing something and think, this is what I'm doing, but everyone sees right through them, kind of thing. And that's, again, like, we are feelers, and we can feel it. We can smell it a mile away.
Smell the bullshit.
Yeah,
which is true. I mean, I like to think that we really can, like, the three of us, not just the three of us, but, you know, like, we all like get along really well because that's one of the things that we like vibe on, is just being able to like smell people's bullshit. Smell, like, you know, just being able to see like unpure intentions. Like,
let's kind of break that down. I'm curious, man. How do you guys have that gauge? So, for example, like, because Paul, like, after you said that, I'm thinking about some, I don't know why, but I'm thinking about some people who obviously don't think the way that we do. Not that I'm saying that we're fucking elite or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be a fucking elitist
that's
here.
not what we're saying.
No.
weird.
FYI.
But I guess how I can say is that we're emotionally intelligent, like what Mike's saying. Like, I would agree. So in a way, I would say it's kind of like a Spidey sense. Peter Tinkle. If you've seen the newer Spider-Man, it's called a Peter Tinkle. There's just something, I don't know if you guys can pinpoint it, and I don't know if we can answer this, but there's just something, the way that somebody moves in their life and how they promote themselves and present themselves, where I'm like, yo, bullshit. That's bullshit. Yeah, there's no way you can keep that facade for that long. And some people do. I mean, surprisingly, but I mean, I'll start it off. Like, I feel like I know right off the bat. So, Michael, you gave a great example earlier, like, or I think Paulo said, it's that used car salesman pitch.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, like, this is a very basic example. If somebody's trying to sell me something, I will gladly listen. But at the end of the day, or at the end of that conversation, I'm just going to be like, I know you're just trying to have me buy it. I know you're just trying to have me pay more. Like, stop trying. But that works for some people. But that's my example. Yeah. But how about for you guys? Like, how do you have that gauge? Or what are some criteria that you kind of base it off? And again, maybe you're not able to pinpoint it, but maybe if you can explain it through an example, that'd be great too.
I don't know, man. Like, I think it is just like this spidey sense shit. And
Yeah.
like used car salesman is probably like one of the best ways that I can describe like the vibe that I get off people. And they don't even have to like, sometimes it's very subtle. It's very hard to describe. But you can just tell. You can just fucking tell.
You can just tell, yeah.
Yeah. It's like just, I don't know, even just like meeting somebody for the first time, even if they're not trying to sell me on anything, you know, just seeing people's movements, like the way that they interact with other people.
That's
like,
huge. That's fucking
when I
huge.
see, yeah, like, especially when it just comes to not even trying to sell me on anything. It might be them trying to sell me like on friendship.
Sure. Yeah. We're all selling something at a certain extent.
Yeah. Like, you know, if you see somebody new like come into your friend group, it could be something like that. And then automatically like for me, like I just know when something doesn't feel right. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, and sometimes it's something very, very subtle.
Mhm.
That's why I feel like when I experience something like that, I'm kind of hesitant to say something at first, because I know that people will tell me I'm like over analyzing it, or just like I think you're looking a little too deep
Being
into this,
judgy.
like,
I mean, I'm always known as
like,
the most judgy person. I mean, I'll admit
I don't
that.
know. Yeah, like I don't know though, like my guts always serve me pretty well, so
Yeah.
like especially when it comes to people. So
Yeah, that's
like
a great
I'll
point.
give people like the benefit of the doubt, you know.
Of course.
But if, like, even if I feel that something is off, of course I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, because it's like I don't know them, right?
Right.
But it's like I don't know, man. Like
There's a short time period though, for me
I don't
especially.
know, man. Like I'm not usually like wrong about these things. Like in my experience, when
Yeah.
it comes to myself, like,
Yeah.
And like you said about like how they move, like their body language doesn't match with what they're saying.
yeah.
You know, like it doesn't connect.
Yeah.
Like we aren't I mean, I guess we do in a sense are logical in a certain way, but we're more feelers. And some
Yeah,
people
it's hard to explain that to people, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain that. Yeah, it's hard to explain that to
Yeah.
people.
but some people are just logical thinking.
Yeah.
And so they don't know how what they're saying impacts the feel of the vibe. And so they'll be saying some shit and it's like that's some bullshit. Like everything you're saying is
Exactly.
not match anything here.
That's why I'm sure you guys have also learned to kind of like hold your tongue a little bit. When it
Oh,
comes
of
to, like,
course.
because it's like, you know, it's not everyone is going to agree with how you feel about like someone or something, like based on like, what are you talking about? Like you have a gut feeling, like it's like they seem like a really nice person, or like this is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny when you say that though. Then I'm basing the person who just said that. And I'm like,
It's like you obviously have no like your emotional, or
like
not
knowing
emotional,
this person, it's like, oh, they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And again,
yeah.
like what Michael just said, that could be more of like a logical
I think so.
thinker, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
which is
versus
legit.
somebody-
Like that's fine.
Yeah, versus somebody who's more like emotionally like intuitive.
Mm.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, side note, it's also funny that our first topic together is identity, because some people would be like, identity? I know myself. The end. It's like, you know what I mean? Some people would deem it as that, and look how much we're talking about in regards to that.
It's
Like-
crazy how people who think they know themselves don't know shit about themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like, the more I know myself, the more I think I really don't know myself. Like, I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
That self-awareness just like isn't there for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know like that's funny that you said it too, because like I remember when talking with you guys off episode podcast, whatever. I remember I was just going down a list of people that I would invite, and it's funny because a lot of the people that I invited or are going to invite, especially initially, like, why are you smiling? Why are you guys fucking smiling?
Because I know where this is.
Like right off the bat, if these people would never say like I fucking know myself, you know what I mean? Like there's always a story. Like I'm just gonna end it with that. Fuck you guys.
Dude.
Well,
Oh my god.
And that part with you guys.
There's some people, it's like, do you really know yourself, or do you know what you think you should be? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah, it
is
does.
this who you really are, or is this who you think you are?
And man, people have a hard time like facing the truth. Like,
Yeah.
and that's, I don't know.
Oh
I'm sure that's something like all three of us. Damn, I feel like I'm making it sound like we think we're like some kind of like elitist, like fucking.
No, not at all. But
That's
also,
not what I mean at all. That's not what I mean.
But think about it like this: like, when's the last
These
time?
are the things that connect us, right?
Of course,
The three of
but
us.
I mean, this is kind of making ourselves feel better. But when's the last time you've heard an introvert with a platform like this?
Yeah, that's true.
True.
I hear a lot of perspectives from fucking extroverts,
Yes.
and obviously people will listen because they're so in your face. So
Yeah.
this is what I think. Fuck you, like if you don't agree, but like this is our perspective, and more power to us for even like wanting to put this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, some people will always have something negative to say, and they'll be like, "Oh, authenticity. These three don't even know what they're talking about."
Yeah. Some
And
people
I
just like
mean,
to fucking talk too.
that's fine. You can say whatever you want. I'm not trying to get defensive here, but it does make me think like you are those type of people that I remember growing up who
Mm,
most likely don't know themselves.
yes.
Like, let's frame it like that. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
these are the people who just pick on somebody for, even to this day, they're one of those people who are like, oh, that's not cool. Why are you doing that? And it's like,
Right.
what are you doing to kind of rediscover yourself? Fuck off, dude. I'm being serious.
Literally.
Like, what are
Literally,
you doing with your life?
it's more of like, what are you doing to, it's not even just finding your passion or hunger. Like, some people think that's bullshit. That's fine. But what I'm getting at is like, what are you doing to evolve as a person, for example?
Right.
Like, are you just doing your 9 to 5? Like, that's cool. Like, what do you do outside of that? Is that really your identity? Think about that.
I think most people that you talk to will, when you ask them about themselves, right, or to like tell you about themselves, they
Right.
will they will use their job.
Their job
Be
is
like,
their
tell
number
you-
one
yeah.
thing. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that's like who they are. Yeah, which is fine. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't
But-
agree with that either. Yeah.
That's something that I found to be true. Like when you first meet a lot of people, it's like they'll lead off with what they do for a living. But
Yeah.
for some people, it's like some people it's a job. Other people, like that's who they are.
Mm.
Like if they really, I found people that really find and are able to do what it is that they feel like they were called to do.
Sure.
Like that's
great.
that's
More
a
power
different
to you.
story.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like those people who just think it's like it was all about me, like finding a 9 to 5 and then just kind of like working till I die type deal.
Right.
Yeah. Some people don't have a choice though, so
Yeah.
there's always that gray area.
Yeah. Back to earlier, we're talking about trying new things, and I think having an identity as like brittle as firm as that, it can be detrimental. I feel like having an identity, you should, like, for instance, I'm always late to shit, and I that's almost my identity. Like, oh yeah, I'm always late for shit anyways, so I'm just gonna keep being late. But I think that like holds me back. Like, I have the opportunity to change that. You know what I mean? I don't have to label myself as someone who's always late. Or I don't have to label myself as this or that. And I think it's good to have an identity that's always changing. And I think we always reinvent ourselves. And I think because we continue to grow and figure out, like, it's a constant adventure. It's not like, oh, this is who I am. That's not a certain. That's not a constant. I think it's a variable, and I think we see it as a variable.
So you're saying that identity is always malleable
I
or
think so.
constantly changing, would you say?
Yeah.
I think so. I think there are definitely like some core things that like remain the same.
Of course.
But those are the things. Those are like the good things that you want to keep like about your identity. You know,
Sometimes,
those like
I mean,
those basic things that just they're just your kind of like core values, right?
and just
That
hold on. I mean, just saving you a side note, like we're just speaking generally here, right? Obviously, there's a lot of factors or variables that can change that, but
No, I think something that I've had to like come to terms with is that I'm always going to be changing like as a person. It's like even when I come to a point where I feel like, oh, I'm like, because right now I feel like I'm generally like pretty happy with who I am as a person, you know.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, but there's still like there's more. Like I'm only 30. Like it's like this is gonna be like this process that never really ends, you know. Like throughout my changes, like I'm pretty sure like you guys are still gonna know who I am.
Yeah.
You know.
would you say that that's pretty big coming to that kind of realization? Would you say that it's taken you a while to come to that, to really
I would say
realize
so.
that, or come to terms and like be okay with that? I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about my 20s a lot, just and it's like we're still like really young. Like you guys are on the verge of 30, but it's like it was this constant like back and forth of like finding a part of myself and then like getting lost for a little bit. It was like collecting bits and pieces of like who I really am, or like putting it all together, And like I feel like just now in the past like 3 years, I've really been able to like take those pieces and like put it together and like kind of make a more consistent version of like who I am, or like who I think I am, or who I know I am.
The
Honestly.
best version. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, shit, it's been like hard for the past like basically like what, like 10 to 12 years, like basically from 18 to like now. It's like there's like parts of yourself that are always there, that are always going to be there.
Right.
Like,
what are some factors do you think? I mean, I'm just kind of asking you guys to like name it off that you think has made that hard for you to come to that realization. Because I mean, this kind of leaks into future topics, but like what I'm thinking right off the bat are like cultural expectations, being first, we're all first generation Filipino American, Michael, you kind of touched base on this on your episode, like coming from a family that immigrated here to America. It's like they have a perception of what they want you to be like. So obviously that kind of plays a role in, how that plays a role in how you shape your own identity. And then obviously there's parts of, being around your peers, those who are born in America and those who aren't, you know what I mean? Like that still plays a role in how you shape your identity. So I guess my question is, what are some other factors or examples you can think of that played a role in challenging you and shaping your identity?
Yeah. I mean, to reiterate, like with the episode, it's like my parents, they came here and they worked basically the same job until, like their idea of becoming successful is to find a big company and work your way up. So work for the same fucking company for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Have benefits and have all that stuff. And to me, it's like, I think all of us too, we have this kind of hunger for, like, we're never satisfied. Like we want more. And like that could, that there's pros and cons for that. I feel like it's hard to keep trying to satiate that hunger, but we want to continue growing and experiencing new things. And it's not exactly practical, but I think it's just the kind of people who we are. And it does make sense to work a job that's consistent, where you get benefits and you get paid a lot of money. But like, where is the fulfillment out of that? Like when you're working so hard that you develop, like back pains, arthritis, gout, and you can't even enjoy your life anymore because you're sitting behind the desk or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I have a different view of what I want my life to be. And I think one thing is that I had so much pressure as a kid to live up to my parents' expectations, but I realize now that I am my own person. I am not my parents.
Right.
I am not them. And
that's okay. Like that's the cards that we're dealt with. Our life is not going to be the same as our parents, especially, but
yes,
I think also having to deal with, I don't want to call it struggle. Like that's not my narrative. Like I'm not going to call it a struggle of being Filipino American, but that does come with, like, I don't have things to base it off of. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
We basically have a clean slate in a way. But now it's like, what are you going to do now? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. Paul, are you going to say something though?
I also think we face a lot of that sentiment from people in our friend group.
Of course.
Maybe not in our friend group, but just like our general circle of friends and acquaintances, Because like, yeah, we're at a stage right now where people are married. Like our close friends are married, or like they have kids, or maybe they just got engaged, like whatever. Right? So yeah, they're definitely going to be like at that stage where it's like, oh, like maybe they're at that place like where like Michael's parents were like when they first got to America, like they're working like the same job, and it's like that's probably like the only reality they know or can see for themselves. So maybe you link up one day and it's like you're catching up on life, and like they don't necessarily like share the same views as you about like how you should be conducting your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I think for me a lot more of it comes from that end versus like my parents.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Like of course, like we're always gonna have like disagreements and stuff, like just being first generation versus like our parents like having their reality, right, and their expectations. But it's like I definitely think I've experienced a lot more of that from like acquaintances and like our circle, our social circle, our general social circle.
Yeah, and speaking on that unsolicited advice you were talking about earlier, it's like sometimes we'll make suggestions of what we should do with our lives, and it's like, no, like that's not what I want. That might be what you want, but that's not what I want.
Yeah, they don't see like, or even just like for you specifically, like I know for a fact that there are like certain people that they don't understand like what your vision for your life is, your vision for your future, right? And honestly, like now it's like that distances you from friends, you know, like those kind of things. Like those are the kind of things that get in between people, like at this age.
For sure.
Like maybe before it was like more shallow things, but now it's definitely stuff that like it like really hits home, or it's like.
Well, yeah, it's an evolved version now. I feel like it's not that it's reaching its final form. If give you a Dragon Ball Z metaphor, but I feel like it's slowly being more evident that like we're on totally different wavelengths. I mean, that sounds very cliche, but like there's nothing wrong with that either. But at the same time, it's like now you really see it, that like how that person acted or, you know, presented themselves at a certain point in their life. Now you see like somewhat the full version of that, because it's like they took this route in life, which is usually much different than how we're going at it. But to each their own, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, there's nothing wrong with like that conventional way either.
Yeah.
But I think like in relation to us and like the way that we are, right?
Yeah.
People don't understand that we want those things too. Like,
of course.
I'm talking about the three of us, like specifically.
Sure.
Like, we want to get married. Like, you want to get the house. Like I'm pretty sure all three of us like want kids.
Right.
So people think that because we're not at that stage right now that we don't want that shit. But it's like we do. It's just like they don't have the capacity to understand sometimes that there's like other shit on top of that we want to. And it's like the reason I can't do that right now is because I'm trying to like pursue this thing.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
Well, part is timing too, I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And another part, I guess, I would say is like that's not necessarily the identity that I'm at right now. Like why? Like exactly. put it this way. Like why would I want? Again, I'm not shooting the idea down, but it's like why would I see myself as like married with like 5 kids or whatever if I'm not even at that point in my life yet? You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to say unfortunately, but fortunately, like I'm actually trying to build my life a certain way. You know, I don't have control of everything, but like I want to not necessarily master this part of my life, but like I'd rather really be more firm with who I am before I continue with other aspects of my life. Because I think that's important, especially going forward. Like, and that's the thing too. Like, I guess I have that, I wouldn't say tainted view of life, but like I have that perspective because I've seen time and time again so many people who have lived that life where it's like, I guess you can call it a fast life where it's like they got married, they had kids, some of them were divorced, and it's like, do I want that for myself? Like I've seen the other end of it, of the spectrum, where it's like, you know, maybe that's made me a little hesitant of certain things, but I guess I have a certain way of how I want to live my life, and I'm going with it. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I'm not ready. Like I'm not ready for that right now. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're looking for, you know, you're on the dating app, so you're looking for a girlfriend, this and that." And it's like, no, I'm not ready. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's
I don't think
fine too.
Like a lot of people who are in relationships aren't ready, and unfortunately, like they put themselves in positions like, you know, like I can say I was in a codependent relationship. Like I can admit that I had codependency issues. And sometimes you need to be single. Sometimes you need self-reflection to understand that maybe I'm not ready to commit to something like that because I have to commit to myself to something bigger. And back to like in Paul, in your episode, you talked about Bruce Lee, and like a lot of people were like what the hell is Bruce Lee doing? Like people didn't understand it because he was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And I feel like in some ways, what we do in our obsessions and our hobbies and stuff like that, people will look at us and be like, what the fuck are they doing with their lives? But I think that it potentially could be that we're just ahead of our time. Like we're doing stuff that people wish they, like, you know, we have friends who wish they started doing things when we started because now they can't catch up or now they don't have the opportunity to do it. And I think like, again, it sounds like elitist, but I feel like we did some things.
I see like
little ahead of our time.
No, but I get what you're saying though, because it's like you're trying to capitalize where we're at now.
Exactly.
Like in the grand scheme of things, like we're just dealing with the cards that we have, and you know, it just happens to be that we're more self-reflective than I guess your average person.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not trying to fuck up on certain things. Like that's not why I'm in some people's eyes. That's not why I'm quote unquote like not progressing with my life. It's more of the fact that like this is where I am. I'm fine with it. Like I'm just dealing with the cards that I have, and it just happens to be that like I'm big on self-improvement, especially right now in my life.
Exactly.
Like I feel like with everything taking consideration of, you know, again, this is what's important to me, like what age I am, like what job I'm at right now. Like there's different factors that kind of determines like how I want to move in my life now. I guess in a way it's kind of like I don't have that much time on this world. Like fuck, nobody knows. Like I'm getting kind of sappy here, but like nobody knows how long you're going to be here. But I'd rather be the best version of myself in any way that I can while I have the energy to do so. Why not do it now?
Do you think that potentially is because we talked about how the three of us, we go hard in all of our hobbies. Like we don't just have hobby, we go hard in everything we do.
Sure.
Do you think the mentality of I want to be the best at everything is kind of what drives you guys and us? I guess because I could agree with that anything I do, I want to be the best at it. Like, do you think that is a mentality that you guys have?
Oh yeah, like all the time. I think more recently boxing.
Mm.
I don't think it's like going back to the whole like kind of used car salesman like mentality and like people like getting in our ear trying to tell us how to like promote what we do or like, you know, get more viewership or whatever. I think we've always just been like more concerned about like perfecting the craft
Yes.
like first and like doing all that stuff like second. Like
Exactly.
that's always been like more important because at the end of the day, like that will always speak for itself.
Yes.
Like you just being good at what you do. Yeah.
Speak for itself.
Yeah. It's like that should be like the number one thing for sure. It's like if you stay consistent, like I really believe like if you stay consistent and you're like on your shit about like something that you love to do, it's like the opportunities will present themselves.
Yeah.
Like Michael, like you were just a client at Tidal before. You were a client and now you're like personal training. Like it's like you have fought, you know, you've done like all this shit. Like you've gone so far like in boxing. And like Mark, like before we were just making like fucking like these clowning ass videos.
Yeah, on a flip.
Like in the summertime, we're like
with Michael,
you know, yeah, you know. And then now you got a hint of lemon.
Yeah. Just to add on to that though, like I guess in terms of being the best, one thing I learned, like especially in a lot of moments of my life, is more of like, but not comparing myself to others. Like I want to be the best of my own version. Yes. Again, it's a little cliche, but like my mentality behind that, just to like even evolve myself to a higher degree, I guess, is like to compare like myself to what I was yesterday. Like that's so cliche, but it's so true once you put it into practice, because it's like there's no like your competition is always evolving. Like it's so easy to just be like, oh, that person is better at me in this way, and because they have this kind of personality and whatever. Like I'm not worried about that anymore. It's more of like, what do I have to offer? What are my skills? And like, how can I develop that, like, and get something out of it like tenfold? Because I feel like one, authenticity is what really drives me, or like to continue. But two, like if I'm mastering it in my own way under my own set of rules, there's nothing more satisfying than that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I try to apply that in a lot of aspects of my life. Like when you asked that question earlier, I thought of like when I was intending to create Hint of Lemon, like I didn't think like I want to be the best podcaster. Like that doesn't come to mind. Like I don't give a fuck if there's only like 2 listeners, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's more of like, how can I give my authentic self and kind of share that? Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like under my own terms, do I want to master something? Yeah, I would agree. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, master. Yes. And for me, part of it stemmed from, this is kind of random and out of topic, but part of it stemmed from white mediocrity and seeing like these white people like getting recognition for literally doing the most mediocre, literally doing the least. And like against going back to wanting to add spice and flavor to things, like to show like this is how we do it kind of thing. But nowadays, like it took me a really, 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 really long time to get to that point that you were just talking to, Mark, where you just strive to be the best yourself, the best version of yourself. Because a lot of my anxiety stemmed from trying to be better than anybody, everybody, comparing myself to everybody, and that is exhausting as
I was
fuck.
about to say, like, how did that work out for you? Fuck, dude.
And when you try to put yourself to all these standards, especially like, you know, as an Asian, someone like me too, I have very like Chinese features, like comparing myself to Eurocentric features and trying to compare myself to, again, like white folks, because that's all you had to compare yourself with. Like I couldn't compete. I don't have Eurocentric features. I got chinky ass eyes. I got a wide nose. I got thick lips. And it's funny because nowadays people want these ethnic features. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. And yeah, I guess it really stems out of like love for yourself, self-love. I've truly understood that, like wanting to better yourself and only yourself and not comparing yourself to other people. I think it brings back to that reality of this is really who I am, and I have to learn how to love myself for who I am, not compare myself to other people. And then with that being said, like the anxiety kind of was lifted away. Not all of it, obviously.
I mean, whiteness to a certain degree, like it's enticing to some people, but like how far can that really take you if you think about it?
Yeah.
Like, do you really think somebody's gonna fuck with you for that long just because of the fact that you're white and you have these features and you know you have this specific skill set? Yeah, maybe there's a few. Like, I'm not shooting those people down, but it's more of like how are you gonna play your cards, and is it authentic to you, and are you okay with people fucking with you with that version of yourself that you're, you know,
Yes.
you're given? Because like think of it like this is very extreme, but it's like I guess that's the thing with fame too, and this is kind of going off identity, but hear me out on this. Like people who are famous, how time and time again, how many times have you heard somebody kind of lose themselves because like they can't stay true to who they thought they were when they're
Yes.
famous, because you know they're trying to portray themselves to be this way, and you know maybe they did a movie and it's like, no, that's not me, that's just who I play as.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so kind of related back to yourself, like I'm curious how this is a
People
random
know you as the
question.
character instead of the person.
Yeah, like this is kind of like relate this to, I guess, our everyday life. How would you feel if you were famous, and how would you deal with that in terms of identity? Because so I guess I'll answer really quick. Like, I don't know if I would deal well with it, because there would be more people thinking I'm a certain way, but there's only a handful of people who know that I'm really not that. And I think that would eat at me at a certain degree, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think fame would really sit well with me, quote unquote fame, like, you know, like superstar fame.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how would that work with you guys? How do you think you would react and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Stay
feel like
off social media.
being
Stay off
introvert is
social-
almost beneficial for us because we get to be away from all that bullshit and that pressure and that anxiety
man.
and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say you were famous one day because of what you're doing right now. Let's just say theoretically, you know, this is all what ifs, but it's fun to do. Like, how do you think you guys would handle that?
Dude, I think I would struggle so much. I feel like I'd have to delete all forms of social media. I'd have to not read the news. Like, I just have to keep to myself. I feel like I'd have to fucking meditate like every day, because like the kind of shit I know that people will say and talk, like you said, like only a handful of people will know me, and everyone's just gonna make assumptions and judge. And I feel like that's just gonna fuck me up.
And do you feel like you're already doing that to a certain degree already?
In terms of like staying
Like
away
how
from
how you live your life now? I'm curious.
Yes, like part of the reason why I've been avoiding dating apps is so I don't, you know, I don't get caught up in that fake life of assumptions and, you know, like just not real. It's like inauthentic plastic life. I don't know.
I think what I said earlier. Yeah, stay off social media, like number one. But I think also just like making sure to like spend time with like my friends and my family. You know?
Keep you grounded.
Like the people that like really know you. You know, because it's like I don't know. Like I feel like the people that we have, like our group is like everyone's like pretty down to earth. You know, and like everyone's also pretty quick to like humble.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So it's just like it's always helped me to like. There's a lot of people I'm not close to anymore, and
Sure.
there's like a reason, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the reason, like you know, my circle is like a lot smaller is because it's like, you know, you just keep the people around who like are the most real or like the most real for you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I feel like if I was in that situation where I was like a really famous person or something, it's like that's something that I would need on the regular.
Yes.
Yeah.
Need to stay grounded.
Yeah, you just need to be like reminded of like where you came from and
Yeah.
like just what actual like people and like real life is like.
Yeah, it's funny that we mentioned that because it's like we're just talking about, you know, traveling and opening up these new horizons and meeting new people, but it's just as important to keep the essence, you know, your friends, the people who really know you near. It's just as important to have those people because sometimes you forget who you are, or at least the essence of who you are. Because like I said, identity can constantly evolve and change, but like you are still the essence of who you are.
Yeah.
So I guess we can agree that like having certain people or family or whatever, close people to you, to stick around, because I feel like that's one, they keep you grounded, and two, sometimes they do remind you of like who you are or in a certain way. Not that they're stunting you, I guess you would say, but it's more of like sometimes you do need that reminder, because there are certain moments, like for example in my life, where you know I will act, I don't know, like a complete asshole. It's like I don't care. It's like blah 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 blah. But some people will be like, you do care. Like, it's okay. And it's not that they're like calling me out in a bad way and being like, you don't think that way. Like, they're not making pre-assumptions. But it's like knowing you, like, you do value those things. Like, you don't need to front. Like, that's really what it comes down to sometimes.
Like, they're not trying to shit on your success. They just don't want you to become like an asshole because of it, or like a shitty person.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy because like with the platforms that we have these days, some people that are in our lives only know us for a certain chunk of our lives. Like some people who are listening to this, Mark, like they might only know you from this podcast. Like Paolo, for you and I, some people might know us just from the fighting side. Some people might just know us for the musical side. Like they don't know anything else about us. They see us as either a musician or a fighter, and you know what I mean. And sometimes it's nice to get back to our friend group because they don't see us as either of those.
Exactly. Yeah.
They see us as us.
I think that's been a struggle, like in the past too. It's like, Mark, you were saying like when we talked like a few days ago, you're like, oh, people have always known you as like, or maybe they just viewed you as like a quiet guy.
Yeah.
And like they were very caught off guard by the fact that you wanted to start a podcast because they thought like it was so out of pocket for you. But it's like us knowing who you are, it's like the next like evolution of like you know, this whole journey you've been going through.
Yeah.
Like with media, right?
Yeah.
And like for me and Michael, like for the longest time, like we were just stuck in this like, oh yeah, you guys like play music and stuff, right? Like that box, right? Okay, yeah, like we do other shit too, like
exactly,
yeah. It's like so many people like that we know have just like known us for like those things, which is like fine. It's like
it's fine, but it's so humbling. Like I can't help but like use that word for that, especially because you know, hopefully it kind of makes. I do hope it throws people off. It makes you realize some people just have a pre-assumption about you, and like that's what they think for the rest of, you know, however long they know you. And you know, again, that's fine, but like if I'm gonna cross paths with you later on in life, like I hope that like you see how we've evolved as people, because everyone's always shifting. They're always making big changes in their life, and you know, I'm a victim of that too. Like I see people in a certain light, and I'm sure they're way more than that, but you know, that's only natural. Just to kind of speak on that, like that's only natural, but I guess it's more of like who is worth showing your real side to, and that's what we have control over if you think about it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed that topic of identity, and I also hope you like that new format, so hopefully we'll see that in the future. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @hint_of_lemon. And if you're not, make sure you're listening to us on Spotify. Peace.